If you're tired of hearing the same old basic mindset and motivational fluff talk, you've come to the right show. Welcome to ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast, where we dish on everything from managing that crazy brain of yours to manifesting abundance to my straightforward, actionable steps that will make you major money online. Now, I'm not your typical multimillionaire entrepreneur. It takes a small village to keep my anxiety and depression in check. I'm inherently disorganized with an intense obsession with office supplies. Your girl here is a digital marketing content expert who's generated over $200 million in sales. I promise by tuning in twice a week, you will get a much needed refreshing dose of truth, clarity, and cash-making advice. Now let's get to it. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, and there has got to be a disclaimer before we get into today's episode. Wow, did I have a wild ride of a week. So by the time this is getting to you, it's quite possible that my mother married an ex-con who recently got out of prison for stealing millions of dollars from an innocent family, building their trust, and then stealing from them. And my mom's his next victim. It's like watching someone that just keeps walking towards the edge of a cliff, and it's getting more and more dangerous, and you keep, and you're not there. You're watching it on TV and you keep telling them, stop. You've probably done this when you've watched movies. Stop, don't do it. Don't you see how dangerous this is? It's so obvious to everybody. Stop, stop. And you can't stop them. I even asked the question to a couple people this weekend and of course took it to Google because that's where all the reliable answers lie. You know how when you get married, it says, is there anyone who objects to this marriage? Speak now or forever hold your peace. I actually thought, probably because I've never been married, I actually thought that was a legit thing, that someone could speak up and stop the wedding from happening that day. So I even had a thought of flying out and being that person. And I've learned that is just a formality, like a tradition, but it actually, it doesn't hold up. I'm like, there goes that. So I wanted to give that disclaimer because I am not my best self, but it goes along with the episode, right? This is part of this money trauma series I'm doing, because if we don't uncover these multi-generational money wounds, society money wounds, circumstance money wounds, if we don't uncover these and work through them, you are constantly going to feel like you're taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. And maybe you're in that spot right now. And that's just going to get really old at a certain point. And it makes a lot of people quit or just end up quitting on wanting more for themselves in life, almost like resolving to settling. Well, I guess this is just my life. This is just how it's going to be. It's not in the cards for me. And let me tell you how dangerous that is. Not just that you don't follow through and go for the things that light you up and that will make a difference in the world, that will have you feeling fulfilled and joyful and excited about life. But when we get to that resolve of, well, I guess this is just how it is, well, that's not living. That's mere survival. And it's not a good look on anyone. And I operated out of that spot. And that ends up getting worse and worse over time and more depressed and lower. And do you really want the people that love you to witness that, to learn from that, to absorb that? I know you don't want it for yourself, but I also know you don't really want it for the people around you either. So today's start of this series is how high performers self-sabotage themselves out of massive success. And the reason I shared some of the mom drama with you guys is, one, I'm really terrible at being fake. And most of you are highly sensitive, intuitive empaths, and you can pick up on energy. So I wanted you guys to know where that is coming from. There's, of course, a lot more to the story that I can't get into in a public platform like this. But how a high performer, let's use me as an example, how I could sabotage myself. And it kind of started a little bit a weekend or two ago when I found this out, is when we get hit by something in life, or we get whacked with multiple things in a week or in a month, and it's, oh my God, I can't take any more, universe. I can't take any more, God. We can easily get spun out. It looks different on all of us. And for me, I can get almost like frozen. I'm just like in a sense of shock, and my brain doesn't function as well. I'm not as sharp. I'm certainly not creative. I'm almost like despondent. I'm just checked out because it's just too much for me to mentally process. Now, I am a high performer and I have a lot of responsibilities. I could easily lean into that feeling of, oh my God, this is so much. All of this happened. Oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I supposed to focus on my business and on all the other things I have going on in my life with this too? I just can't. I'm not going to do anything today. I'm going to take today off. I'm not going to do this tomorrow. I don't have the bandwidth to do this. So maybe I'll do this next week. I'll put off this launch. I'll put off following through on writing this email or calling this person or doing this thing or having this meeting. And while that is self-care and self-honoring to give yourself breathing room and space when you need it, of course, but it can really go sideways on you because it sounds like a really good idea to your brain. And there's even people in your life who love you who will go, yeah, you don't need to do that right now. You have enough going on. This is so stressful. You just need to focus on this, because they love you and they mean well. Now, if you have a coach like me in your life, or you have a close friend like me in your life, I will be extra nurturing and supportive during any hard time, but I will also not allow you to settle there and stay there, because here's what happens when we do that. When it shifts from it being self-nurturing, self-soothing to self-sabotage is when we stay in the muck. Like, why do we need to stay frozen for more than 2 days? Both can exist at the same time. I can get on here and deliver you a high valuable, I can't even speak properly today, and it doesn't matter. I can come on here and pour into you and have a great episode go out on the podcast and follow through and make sure there's the show notes and make sure everything gets to the producer and do all the stuff and make sure I share the episode. I can do all that while processing my anger, my resentment, my fear, my guilt, all of the crap that I've going on around this mom stuff. We can do both at the same time. It's called and. Avoiding the hard is what's sabotaging your success. And that was just one example. But over the last 15 years, I've coached, mentored, and consulted with thousands of people. And one thing that is true about every one of those people is they all have blind spots and they all carry a self-sabotaging behavior. Every single one of us. And so there's two types of people. Person A, you may not think you have one. Oh, I've done all this personal development and growth work, or I'm a therapist and I'm very aware. And I used to do self-sabotaging behaviors, but not anymore. Those are the people I get very concerned about, by the way. Person B, you may know for sure that you do, but you aren't sure how to stop it. Most of my clients identify as high performers and are extremely self-aware, yet they're stumped as to why their business isn't growing faster, why everything feels so hard for them, and why it looks so easy for everyone else. So here's a great place to start. Start by looking at what you're avoiding in your life. So if we just used me as an example, and the 2 days where I really did need to get a couple more so creative projects done, I will carve time for those on weekends. It's a choice. Could I do it during the week? Sure. But I choose to do it on weekends because I integrate my life with my business and my business with my life. It's like I massage them together. So I'll go do something fun, enjoyable, and then it really puts me in a great mental space to do creative work, writing work, brainstorming work. And I was excited because I, just like what I teach you, I want you to create a business where you're actually like excited to work on it. That doesn't mean you're excited all the time. There's times where I'm so cunty that like I can't be bothered to make coffee. And I'm more of an at-home coffee gal. Are you like an at-home brewer, or are you like a diehard, I've got to go out and get my coffee every day? Like I've got to get that cold brew. I've got to get that damn pumpkin spice latte. Nasty. I've got to go get it. That's your jam. I'm so curious what it is. I really am curious about it. I'm a brewer. I will go out, but like that is one thing I actually use my kitchen for, is making coffee. I'm fantastic at the coffee. I'm damn good at the salad making. Oh, charcuterie. I can cut some cheese. I don't think that's cooking though, but I can cut some cheese, and salami is pre-sliced. So it's really more of even salad's not cooking. It's really more like arranging and chopping. So I guess that's where I'm good at. Where was I going with this? Oh my God. We knew I was going to go off on some wild tangent today. But I couldn't be bothered to even make coffee. I didn't like my house, you can tell. And I'm like someone who's very clean, but I'm not always tidy. It's not like there's like giant piles everywhere, but you can tell if I have if I'm being frozen and I'm in like analysis paralysis or just like emotional overload, like short circuiting, by looking at piles. Right now, because it's speaker season, I've ordered tons and tons and tons of outfits and shoes and stuff because you don't want to get photographed in the same thing multiple times. And some of the stuff doesn't fit, which is so annoying. It's like, I always order a bigger size because you can always like pin stuff. But I swear to God, either I'm getting fatter or these clothes are getting smaller. And I'm going to go with the clothes are getting smaller. I'm going with that. But they're strewn all about and everywhere. And I can't be bothered with that. And that stuff, I'm putting that off. So I'm putting the creative stuff off. Even stuff I love to do off. Stuff that I normally wouldn't put off, I'm putting off. So take a note right now. Are you doing that in your life? You know, where it's stuff you wouldn't normally do. Or things are piling up where you keep going, I need to get to that stack of papers. Oh God, my closet's gotten wild. Or I haven't done laundry in 3 weeks. I need to get it together. That's key sign that we've got a mess going on in the mind, and you're in a self-sabotaging behavior. So we're going to start there. Then I want you to ask yourself, or I'll ask you right now, what are you avoiding in your life? What are you avoiding? And if you're like, okay, I'm avoiding putting together my paperwork for my taxes. I'm avoiding doing like the creative project that I put off. I started avoiding it, even though I was looking forward to doing it. Okay, I'm avoiding that. Why am I avoiding it? I really felt like I just didn't have it in me to do it. Oh my God, I might even start to cry. Thank God. For those of you guys, we have a lot of new listeners to the show from all over the world. This is what you get over here, okay? We talk about the shit show of life, the shit show of money, the shit show of business, the shit show of people, and how to work through it. And I show up in real time, not just the PR version of me. There's enough shows and motivational speakers out there who do that, and God bless them. But this is where you're going to get real, and, it's not cute. But I also show up like this because this is the point of this episode. This is the and. I'm showing up regardless for you right now. Am I messier than normal? Am I a little all over the place? Do I feel really raw and vulnerable and like you're going to fucking hate this episode because I just don't feel as on it or as sharp, or maybe you don't really care to hear about the stuff with my mom. Like, why would you care? And all the crap that goes on in our brains. And if we get stuck in that kind of shit, you'll never be consistent in the things that you want to do in your business and your life, because there's a lot of these kinds of moments. Maybe not this extreme. Geez, I hope not. But there's a lot of these moments, unexpected moments, just hormonal days, shocking days, things that happen that you didn't expect. You know, spilled coffee all over your car, and now you've got to sit and spend forever cleaning it up. The dog's sick. It really is endless. Like, life is always in session, and your business should always be in session. The things that you want should always be in session. So what was I avoiding by not doing that creative project? If I'm being real, I didn't want to do anything to feel good. I kind of wanted to be miserable. It sounds crazy, but this is very quite normal. There's good English today. Sometimes we want to sit in our shit. And I just wanted to be pissed off. Fuck the world. Fuck my mom. Fuck this drama. Screw everything. And I just want to do whatever I want. And if that means watching Netflix and drinking sangria and walking around aimlessly and staring at a wall, that's what I'm going to do. And you know what? That is also okay sometimes. But sometimes, not day after day after day. So what do you tend to put off? What kinds of things are you putting off in your business that you know are important to the goal you're trying to do? Business or life. This applies to both. What are you putting off? Is it launching the thing? Is it sharing your offer? Is it doing videos? Is it starting a podcast? Is it writing a book? What is it? And this is not to take out a bat and beat yourself up with it. So use just a Post-it note or a journal or your notes app. What are you putting off? What do you say you know you need to do and then you don't? I know I need to get my taxes in order. I know I need to finish this. I know I should be posting more. I know I should be talking about my offer more. I know I should be applying to Tiffany's exclusive 2-month private business coaching program, because this is the last time to work with her privately for the rest of the year. And maybe you're even putting off applying for that, but the application's just open, so you might not have known that. So I just opened those applications. There are only 5 spots, and this is the last time to work privately with me this year. So you're going to want to make sure that you apply. If it's something you've been putting off on getting true help, investing in a higher level on yourself and your business, so you have the accountability and you'll actually show up and you know exactly what you need to focus on and what you need to stop wasting time on to move the needle in your business. $13 billion is going to be spent on Black Friday alone this year. That's the day after U.S. Thanksgiving. Just online, not including in-store retail, $13 billion more than ever before. People are spending more than ever than before. Even though I know you're seeing stuff on the news and you're like, oh, the gas is up and the milk is up and economy. Well, yeah, it's news. I used to be a TV journalist. Like, their job is to do sensational news and fear-based stuff. I started my first business during the real recession. That like 2007, 2008 period, my townhouse that I bought was completely upside down because I had one of those crazy loans that you guys may have heard about, whether you're outside the US or in it. There were these weird ass loans that were just a recipe for disaster. I had one of those because I didn't have, my dad was dead. I had no uncle. I didn't have any. And not that has to be a guy, but I didn't have any mentor to go tell me what the hell to do with my money. And I straddled my straddling method. I did the side hustle for 6 months and left my 6-figure corporate job during the peak of a recession. Guess what? When you zig and everyone else is zagging, you're going to be successful because you want to know where there's a lot of room. at the top. There's a lot of room at the finish line. A lot of room. Not at the starting line. A lot of people start. A lot of people have the ideas, but very few people go for it. And there's always going to be an excuse. So people can use the economy as the excuse. I could use the money as the excuse. You can use your kids needing extra help from you as an excuse. I've coached people who have kids who are highly, highly on the autism spectrum, where they need full-time care, plus they have other kids, plus they had a corporate job they hated. I've coached people who have newborn twins that are both nursing, and they would show up to coaching calls while one was nursing on each breast. I have a client right now who showed up at her house one day, coming home from work, and all of her husband's shit was gone. And after 20 years of marriage, he left, and she cannot see that there were any signs, and she had to figure out how to make more money and fast, and they show up. So what do you say you know you need to do and then you don't? We got to get honest with ourselves first, with a sense of humility and grace for ourselves, not coddling ourselves, not enabling ourselves, where it's like where you're convincing yourself that it's okay to keep doing nothing, but just taking a solid inventory. When we avoid, it's our attempt to delay some sort of perceived pain, discomfort, or life disruption. So that's what you're just trying to do. Just like with whether it's something you've been delaying and putting off for months or years. It took me 10 years to start ProjectME with Tiffany Carter. I was delaying some sort of perceived life disruption, that it's going to be more work and I can embarrass myself. And what are all my corporate people going to think? Tiffany's gone off the deep end, because this was before, this was a weird thing to do. And all that kind of crap was coming up. But if you knew for certain it would work out for your greatest good, then why haven't you gone all in with it yet? Whether it's a project, whether it's a business, whether it's next leveling your business, whether it's a book, whether it's changing careers. If you knew for certain it would work out for your greatest good, then why haven't you gone all in with it yet? Because you have chatter in your brain telling yourself, well, I'm not certain it's going to work out for my greatest good. Well, there's no guarantees. But if you don't have a strong belief that you're going to do everything in your power, not like depleting yourself, not causing yourself burnout or neglecting your family or your personal needs. But if you'll show up and follow through and do what it takes while honoring your health and honoring the other important things in your life, then why haven't you gone all in with it yet? Ask yourself that question. Is it you're scared of looking stupid? Is it that it could set you up for criticism? Is it that you have a perception if you really put yourself out there, you could have danger, you could have haters, and you don't want to deal with that? Is it that your family might resent you for making more money? Is it what will the neighbors think? Is it what will my old colleagues think? Is it that you're spinning on self-doubt? Can I really do this thing? I want you to remember this and take this away from this episode. You can have both. It's not either or. You get to have and. You get to have a bunch of shit going on in your life and scale your business. You get to have some health issues, a family member who's not well, and debt, and start a business and grow your business. I don't know any business owner, and I'm sure there's exceptions. People have insane trust funds and all of that. But I don't know any business where people who have been successful don't have a lot of odds that are stacked against them. Like even Elon Musk, his dad was highly abusive. He's on the spectrum. He had a lot of things stacked against him. I don't know anyone who we look at Oprah. She had a lot of stuff stacked against her, a lot of childhood wounding. It's not like she came from money. She's an African-American woman. She's a Black woman, and especially then, where that wasn't to put you on TV. That was a whole nother deal. She had that going on. All of us have stuff that is stacked against us currently in our life. And so what? And you can do it anyway. And there's tons of evidence of other people who've done it anyway. I can be a complete mess and show up here for you and deliver a good show and still empower you and still light a fire under your ass to go do the damn thing. They can both exist, but when you keep telling yourself, I don't have the motivation, or I've not had energy lately, so I can't do this, or there's been so much stress in my life, and I've not been sleeping, so I've not had it in me to add another thing to my plate. Now you're looking for an excuse. You're an excuse seeker. So now you're looking for an excuse to not do the damn thing to get what you want in life. How about you look for an excuse to do it? Spend time looking for an excuse of why you can do the thing. Here's why you can do it. Maybe you just need to start. Maybe we're going to do it. We're just going to take it a little slower now, and we'll do an hour each day instead of 5 hours a day. But having the black and white thinking around it where it's got to be all or nothing, this is keeping you in a space where you are not growing. You're not expanding. You're not doing it. The link to apply to my 2-month private business coaching program is in the show notes, so you can swipe up. Again, this is the last time you'll be able to work with me privately this year. So if you want to get a slice of the crazy amount of spending that is going to go on, the billions and billions and billions of dollars in spending, in fact, worldwide, it's in the trillions, over the holiday season and over the new year, because that's when people go heavy on other things like wellness, for example, then you need to be setting things up now, restructuring your offers, stacking your offers, having a profitable content plan, making sure you have things that work with each other. You have pricing, you have verbiage, you have names, you have things that all connect so that it feels fun. It feels exciting, and it gets people really eager to want to work with you. All those things are done inside my 2-month private coaching program. So go ahead, swipe up, apply, take a screenshot of this episode, share it in social media, share it with a friend, share it with someone who really has felt stuck in it lately and could really use a fresh take on it that doesn't involve more coddling and encouraging you to stay where you're at. I understand what it takes to be able to process emotions and work through stuff, but we can do both. Joy and pain can exist in the same way. Anger and happiness can also exist within the same 15-minute period. Absolutely it can, and in fact, your life depends on it. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you so much. Go leave a dang 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts of the show. This show is not free to put out, and you leaving a written review on Apple Podcasts really goes a long way. On Spotify, you can just click and leave a 5-star review. I don't believe it allows you to actually write a written review yet, and that also helps if you're one of my Spotify listeners. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.